So urbex is the abbreviation of urban exploration. It's often exploring abandoned or empty buildings. It doesn't always have to be necessarily abandoned. Like, you can go to a populated area and make your way to like a rooftop of a business building. That still counts as urbex, but most of the time I go for the sort that are abandoned, they're not used. My personal experience was I grew up on an old RAF base and the billets and hangars were abandoned. I'd just go in the buildings, I'd wait till I saw the security van pass my road, and then I'd just hop over the fence and I'd go in there and look around. I wasn't into the photography aspect of it. I just wanted to go and explore these buildings. It's like a time capsule, a piece of history just frozen in time. Like, you're going in, you're just seeing all these, military buildings. Just, you can imagine like all the airmen walking around, going into the kitchen or the big halls, big dining halls, seeing that little bit of history just preserved in its own little space of time outside of the norm. I'd say the important thing to start off with is, if you have a location in mind, research the hell out of it, because there's certain, urbex is kind of like a legally grey area. It can't exactly be trespassing if there's the fence has fallen over, because if it was that important to keep people out, the fence wouldn't have fallen over, it would have stayed up, but you're kind of letting people in. So I guess that kind of answers the more the legality of it, is as long as you're not cutting your way through or jumping over a fence. But when it comes to getting into it, research the buildings, find out everything there is about it, the history of it, why it was closed. If there's a biological hazard reason, don't go in there. If there's a risk of asbestos, make sure you're wearing a respirator or adequate protection for it. The second part is obviously getting the right gear. And the thing is, most of it you hope you'll never actually have to use, like first aid kits, spare change of clothes, just in case you go somewhere that's wet. It's always good to have camera gear if you're into photography, protective clothing, obviously gloves, boots. More is less. I would always say go with somebody. It's always better to just go with friends, mostly because it's more enjoyable. There's obviously the safety reasons behind it as well. If you get in trouble, if you fall down a massive ditch or something like that, you're gonna need somebody to help you out. Sometimes just telling people where you are isn't enough. It's nice to have somebody watching your back. And also, if you do run into any security guards or anything like that, it's nice to know that you're not running by yourself.
I'll take my time. I'm alive.
Now, I know a lot of people would say don't go alone, but sometimes just going into an abandoned building by yourself, especially if you've done it more than once, it's quite an interesting experience just to go it alone, to actually be fully alone in this sort of frozen bit of time. You feel sort of one with everything. Everything just sort of slows down. That feeling of being alone is actually one of the best things if you're quite an independent person.
It's been up and down, but I know I'm fine. I'll take my time. I'm alive.
You shouldn't take anything, even if it's something really cool. If you manage to get in somewhere there's a gas mask lying around, you'd leave it. If you get caught with that, it's just going to look more incriminating. And also spray painting, graffiti, as much as I love seeing it in the buildings, that's somebody else's lookout. You won't catch me doing that. And then getting out, you want to leave the way that you came in usually. It's like you were never there. You want to be almost like a ghost. You can touch stuff, but I'd highly recommend you don't. You don't know what's been on there. Just go through. You're an observer. You're not there to change anything. I can always say in my experience, I haven't been caught by police. I've been caught by security crews before. Unless you are certain you can get away, always just try and approach them, be friendly. Generally, they sort of leave you with a slap wrist and just send you on your way. Like I say, if there's a chance that you can get away, I would probably take it.